Welcome back to Lavender Recap. In today's video, we'll be going through an American action and comedy movie from the year 2021 titled Red Notice. If you're visiting this channel for the first time, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. A story about Cleopatra and Mark Antony opens the movie. He gave her 3 bejeweled eggs as a token of his unending love on their wedding day. For generations, the eggs were thought to be nothing more than legends. However, 2 of them were discovered by a local farmer in Cairo in 1907. On the other hand, a 3rd egg was never found. In the present, FBI criminal profiler Special Agent John James Hartley and Interpol agent Daz arrive at a museum in Rome after getting information from the bishop, a credible source that one of the exhibit's eggs will be stolen. The egg is still in place and unbroken when it arrives in the display room. Hartley uses a thermal sensor to scan the 18-karat gold egg and discovers that it doesn't reflect the heat in the room, indicating that it's a fake egg. He gets a Coke from a visitor and pours it into the egg to illustrate his idea. International art thief Nolan Booth reveals himself and manages to exit the room as Hartley enters the coroner's booth. They get into a fight, which results in both of them falling out of a window. Booth slips down a pipe and escapes in a stolen motorcycle. Hartley tries to catch up with him in a super fancy sports car, but he's a lousy driver and is T-boned by a gelato truck right away. Booth arrives at his refuge in Bali 56 hours after the heist carrying the egg. Hartley, on the other hand, has been waiting for him and dispatches Interpol agents to apprehend him and seize the egg. Hartley explains that the bishop sells Booth out and tells the FBI agent where the hideout is. While Hartley is loading the egg into the truck, the bishop, disguised as one of the team members, replaces the real egg with a fake one. The next day, Hartley is approached by Dawes as he prepares to depart Rome in an hour. She displays the phony egg and tosses it to the floor, accusing Hartley of switching the egg. She also mentions that an $8 million wire transfer was recently made to a Swiss bank account in Hartley's name. Despite Hartley's pleadings and repeated claims that he's innocent, he's arrested and deported to Russia. When Hartley discovers that Booth is his cellmate, things get even worse. Both of them believe Hartley was set up by the bishop while dining. Hartley claims to have eliminated her main adversary, Booth, as well as the chief investigator himself, in a single move or 2 birds, 1 egg, as Booth puts it. The bishops plot to gather all of Cleopatra's egg and sell them to an Egyptian billionaire for $300 million by the night of his daughter's wedding is revealed by the renowned art thief. They also know that the 2nd egg is currently in the possession of Sotto Voce, an international armaments dealer, and is kept in secret vault inside his home. Only by breaking into the vault during one of his annual parties is it possible to steal it. Booth then announces to the entire cafeteria that Hartley is not a cop and that he's an FBI agent a few moments later. Because the inmates despise cops and aren't exactly stupid, one of them, Drago Grande, approaches them and challenges Hartley. Despite his assurances that he doesn't want any problems, Drago throws a punch, forcing the guards to respond and return them to the cell. Soon later, Hartley and Booth are taken before the bishop, who claims to be the prison's captain. She admits that she was the one who switched the egg and wired the money to a Hartley-owned account. She assures them that she would grab the 2nd egg in less than 48 hours and that Booth knows where the final egg is hidden. She offers him 10% of the money and promises to let him free if he reveals the location of the egg, but he refuses to reveal anything. They decide to join forces and begin devising their escape strategy. Before going to sleep, we learn that Booth is the son of a Swiss police captain and that his father was a jerk who falsely accused him of stealing his watch. For here, his father refused to speak to him until he uncovered the truth behind some paperwork. The next day, they carry out their escape plan so well that they outsmart the guards and escaped in a chopper. In London, the bishop holds an agent imprisoned in his office while sending a message to Dawes via his computer, notifying her that Hartley and Booth have escaped from the prison. She also sends an invitation to the party hosted by Sotto Voce. Booth, on the other hand, summons his friend Tomboy to pick him up and Hartley up and fly them to Sotto Voce's mansion. While Hartley is examining the house's design, Booth reveals his idea to exploit the hidden entry to gain access to Voce's safe, which is located upstairs and closely secured. Furthermore, all actions in the house are watched by CCTVs that are already equipped with cutting-edge technology. He also mentions that the sole way into the vault is by facial and speech recognition, which Booth is prepared for with his face and voice replacement technology. Finally, they must input a 12-digit passcode that can only be discovered on Sotto Voce's phone and which requires fingerprint confirmation. To cut a long story short, they arrive at the masquerade party. When Hartley meets Bishop, he asks for a dance, which isn't on the agenda. Sotto Voce notices Hartley dancing with the party's most gorgeous female, and he's envious. He asks her to dance with him respectfully. Booth, on the other hand, collects his fingerprints, and Hartley manages to steal the phone before heading to the vault room. Booth hacks the CCTV and gains access to the vault. Dawes enters just as they are about to enter, brandishing her gun at them. She directs Hartley to arrest Booth in order to establish his innocence. He refuses and enters the vault alongside Booth. Fortunately, Bishop has already gained access to the egg and starts fighting them. She manages to outskill both of them after a protracted fight, as Sottovoce and his men enter the vault. Bishop, to his surprise, had organized this with him, notifying him that Hartley and Booth would be arriving for the egg. The men of Voce then knock them out. Bishop threatens Hartley with electric cords unless Booth tells them where the third egg is hidden. Even after Bishop has boosted the voltage to maximum, he still refuses to speak. Voce loses patience and strangles Hartley, revealing the location of the last egg, which is hidden in a pyramid in Cairo. Bishop poisons Sottovoce's drink just before they leave, causing him to pass out. Voce awakens, but his vision is compromised, and he begins firing indiscriminately at Hartley and Booth as the woman walks away. The bullet strikes the cuff thanks to Voce, and Hartley is able to free himself and flee with Booth. To cut a long story short, the men board a train where Booth explains that he lied about the location of the last egg. He is, however, adamant about not telling Hartley. Hartley almost pushes him off the train before giving in and pulling him back in. Hartley's father was a con artist who is now a cop, while Booth's father was a cop who's now a crook. They decide to aid one another because of their similarity. The third egg was buried by Rudolf Zeig, Hitler's personal antiquities dealer, and was shipped to Argentina along with all the stolen Nazi valuables, according to Booth. He soon discovered that the watch his father cherished contained the coordinates for the bunker where the egg was stored. They arrive at the bunker's precise location, which is in the middle of the forest. However, Booth realizes that he has been reading the map backward the entire time, which enrages Hartley. When he destroys the compass, they realize they're standing on top of it and begin digging, where they discover a path leading to a massive vault filled with stolen items. They finally uncover the final egg, but Bishop appears along with Das and her gang, who has been following Bishop. While being pursued by Interpol agents, they attempt to flee in the old Mercedes car. The thieves are able to steal the Interpol agent's car, leaving Das alone. The three then drive out of the cave and freefall over a waterfall in the car. Booth secures the egg and swims away, but he's unable to locate Hartley. He drops the egg and tries to save him by jumping back into the water, but he's okay. Hartley learns that Booth genuinely cares about him. Bishop survives the collision not long after, and as Hartley appears to be preparing to arrest her, they kiss instead. It turns out Hartley has been collaborating with Bishop all along. The couple have been plotting the egg heist since the beginning and have enlisted Booth's help in finding the third egg. Booth is compelled to hand over the egg and is handcuffed to a tree. The couple travels to Cairo for the wedding of the billionaire's daughter. He gives the bride the 3 Cleopatra eggs as a wedding gift. But Dawes and Interpol agents appear out of nowhere and arrest the billionaire. The eggs are secured by Interpol agents, but Hartley and Bishop escape unobserved with $300 million in their bank accounts. Later, the couple is on a boating vacation when Booth approaches them. He was apprehended by Dawes but managed to flee. He informs them that he informed Dawes about their bank account where the $300 million was moved, and she blocked the money. He then offers them the option of working together on another heist or being arrested because Interpol agents are approaching the yacht. The couple reluctantly consents and flees. When Dawes gets back to the office, he sends a red notice to all 3 thieves. The movie concludes with the 3 of them landing in Paris and preparing to carry out their next heist, robbing the Louvre. What is your favorite part of the movie? Are you waiting for the sequel of this next heist? Comment down below.